was his old coaches. The engines on Sodor enjoys pulling carriages. Taking passengers makes them feel proud and useful. Gordon likes pulling the express. Thomas likes pulling Annie and Clarabelle. And Toby likes pulling Victoria and Henrietta. And Percy likes pulling old slow coach. And Edward likes pulling his old coaches. One day, the engines were very excited. The fat controller was having a welcome party. Very important visitors were coming from the mainland. There was hustles and bustles and cleaning and sweeping. Edward felt very happy. He was also very happy for having his old coaches back. They had been to the workshop being repainted and being fitted with new materials. The fat controller arrived.
Hello, Edward. Have you got your coaches back?
Yes, thank you, sir, said Edward.
I'm glad, said the fat controller, because I have an important job for you.
Edward beamed.
The very important visitors has arrived at Brendam Docks, said the fat controller. You must collect them and take them on a tour of the special sights of Sodor. Then you will bring them to Knapford for the party at tea time.
Yes, sir, puffed Edward. I won't let you down. And he puffed away. Edward chuffed into Brendam Docks. The very important visitors were waiting. Welcome to Sodor, peeped Edward grandly. I will show you the special sights of Sodor. And the very important visitors climbed on board. They sat down in the old coaches, and Edward set off on their tour. Edward had to show the visitors all the sights along the way. First, they stopped at the Sodor windmill. Then Thomas arrived. Oh my, Edward, your coaches look splendid, he puffed. Thank you, Thomas, beamed Edward. They've just been repainted. Thomas was pleased. And then Edward puffed away. Along the way, Edward met Henry, who was collecting logs from the sawmill.
Your coaches looks better than ever before, Edward,
wheezed Henry. Yes, indeed, agreed Edward. Thank you. See you at the party at Knapford. And he puffed off. Edward took the visitors to the castle for the final tour. The visitors were having a great time. Time to go, tooted Edward, and the visitors climbed back on board. And when Edward tried to move, he found that he couldn't move. His driver got down to check, but found there was nothing wrong. That's strange, he thought. He tried to move Edward again, but still Edward couldn't move an inch. Something is holding us back, said the driver. I'll go check the guard. So the driver walked over to the brake coach. What's up? Asked the guard. Reckon the brakes are still on. Is yours off all right? Should be. The guard tried to turn the brake handle, but he couldn't. Both he, the driver and fireman tried together, but still couldn't. The brake handle was stuck fast. So the driver went to telephone for an engineer. And soon a carriage engineer named Old Jake came along. "Let's have a look at the brake," he said. But it wasn't long until he had found the problem. "One tiny nut," said Jake. "It jammed on the brake. That's why you couldn't turn the handle." And he told Edward about it. "Thank you, Jake," said Edward. "But we must get the very important visitors to their welcome party." "As long as you take it easy, Edward," said Jake. So Edward puffed slowly as he could. "I must be on time," puffed Edward. The visitors cheered for Edward. "Go to it, Edward!" they cried. And Edward knew he could. Finally, Edward arrived at Knapford Station just in time. The Fat Controller was waiting, and Jake told him what had happened.
"You have been very patient, Edward," said the Fat Controller. "I am very pleased with you. I will send the brake coach back to the works to have his brakes fixed tomorrow."
"Thank you, sir," peeped Edward happily. Soon the welcome party was a great success, and the very important visitors were very happy to meet the Fat Controller's engine. "We'd like to give a special thanks to Edward," they said, "for giving us a smooth tour in his coaches. They are very reliable." And everybody cheered for Edward and his old coaches.